Hi everyone, Steve Gonzer, physical therapist here with Run Smart Online, and over the last little bit I've been talking about this dollar trial where you can go in and train smarter using proven plans that I've learned as a physical therapist for the last decade and running coach. So you can go to the link in this above, but what I want to talk to you today about is the 60% rule. It's something I use quite often in my training plans, and it's included in the training that I put in this post, which you can check out for $1. But anyways, so the 60% rule is this. I have a 2-to-1 principle, the 60% rule, kind of ingrained in that, but I also want to talk about base training for anyone who's looking to start a training plan. So 60%, what does that mean in your running? Now this works really well, and as a running coach I saw this work really well for athletes over the age of 40 or those who are more apt to get injured, which I think as an older runner you're going to probably be like that, and you can identify with that. So what the 60% rule is this, is every third week in your training, so you're building your training plan and you're building your mileage, every third week you should drop to 60% of your max. So what that means is if you're a 50-mile-a-week runner, you should go to go to 30 miles every third week. Easy math. If you're a 100-mile-a-week runner, you should go to 60 miles as your recovery week. But 60% mileage of your max mileage should happen every third week in your training plan. This does a couple things for you. Number one is it allows you to recover more frequently. It allows you to build your mileage more safely. But from a mental standpoint, when you go to every third week in recovery and the 2-to-1 principle of 60%, you also get the mindset of, hey, I'm going on to a recovery week, let's get through this week, let's make sure all my training is up to snuff. And then when you're coming off a recovery week, you're like, I can't slack this week, I need to get my tempo runs in, my workouts in, because I just came off a recovery week. So mentally it really helps, but physically it helps as well. There's actually another point where this works, and if you're interested in learning more about this, click on the link above. You can go and just sign up for a $1 trial. I'll help you build this out. But the 60% rule works really well for base. So if you're going into a training plan, whether half marathon, full marathon, whatever, you want to be averaging about 60% of your max mileage before you start your training plan. So for example, if you run a half or full marathon at 30 miles a week, you're going to want to be averaging 60% of that before you start your training plan, so that's 18 miles a week. And you want to sustain that for 3 to 4 weeks before going into your plan. And what this does is it keeps your training and your body prepped so that when you start building your mileage, you have a steady base. And it's not only for fitness standpoint, it's also for your joints, your muscles, your tendons to be used to the impact of running. So make sure that you are implementing this. Now typically what I see is runners have in their training plan, they have week over week builds, or when they don't drop far enough on the recovery week. So a recovery week comes and they don't drop far enough down, or the recovery weeks aren't frequent enough. They're not every third week. They're not dropping to 60%. That's a huge problem, and I found this as a running coach and physical therapist for the last decade, that this system really works really well, the 2-to-1 principle, especially for busy professionals, people with kids who need a little bit more time every third week. But also from the 60% rule, from an injury standpoint, it just gives your body what I find to be the perfect amount of recovery in the build plan. So if you're interested in learning more about this, you're interested in just building a plan for you or checking out the strength workouts that help supplement this, go to runsmartonline.com/train. You can find the link above, and I will build out the entire plan for you, and I will also give you access to strength workouts that you can try for $1 that I use with my runners every day. Last couple days in Florida here, so I'm looking forward to getting a couple more runs in. I just got done, stunk up the elevator afterwards, but hope this video helps. I hope you guys implement the 60% rule, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.